Welcome, beloved souls. The uprising has begun. Across the globe, voices are rising, not in frustration, but in righteous fury. This isn't just resistance, it's a revolution sparked by the blatant disrespect and manipulation you've endured for far too long. The final line has been crossed. No longer will people stand silent as you're targeted. This isn't a ripple, it's a tidal wave of fierce loyalty and unshakable conviction. Allies have stepped forward, strong and resolute, ready to shield you without hesitation. The tide has turned into a tsunami, a force so immense, it shakes even the architects of deception to their core. This is not a mere shift, it's a cosmic awakening. They tried to isolate you, tried to convince you that you were alone against a machine built on lies. But now, legends rise in your defense. Their voices thunder across the silence, challenging the false narratives once accepted without question. These defenders didn't arrive by coincidence. Truth has a pulse, and now it beats loud and fast. Like fire breaking through the earth's crust, your truth has erupted, incinerating every lie spun to keep you quiet. Make no mistake, your enemies launched everything they had, every whisper, every smear, every shadowed attack, all designed to silence you. But instead of breaking you, they awakened something unstoppable. Their assault ignited a global reckoning. Now those who once watched from the sidelines are stepping forward. The fog has lifted. Eyes are open. The game they played in secret is now center stage, and the audience is not amused. Their arrogance was their undoing. They thought their lies were untouchable, their control unshakable, but they misjudged the power of raw, unfiltered truth, and they never saw this uprising coming. Your name, once questioned, is now spoken with honor. Doubt has turned to outrage. Those once skeptical now demand answers, not from you, but from the very ones who waged this war against your light. How dare they? These words echo everywhere, online, in private circles, in crowded halls. How dare they twist perception? How dare they build an empire on deceit? How dare they attempt to destroy what they couldn't control? The wildfire is spreading, not a controlled burn, but a full-blown blaze devouring every lie. Strangers now speak in your defense with unwavering passion. In every space your name is mentioned. Truth walks in with it. They've seen enough. The evidence is inescapable. Even your former critics now stand beside you, not out of guilt, but because truth transformed them. The illusion has shattered. The manipulation has failed, and the world is watching. The slander, the whisper campaigns, the attempts at character assassination. They now face an army of awakened souls who will not be silenced or swayed. Watch closely. See them stumble. Panic flickers in their gaze as the narrative slips from their grasp. Their control, once so secure, now drifts away like ash in the wind. Every new attempt to maintain dominance only backfires. Their fabrications grow sloppy, their tactics transparent. The spell is broken, and the world no longer plays along. What once cloaked them in power now exposes them completely, and what once cast you in shadow now reveals your brilliance. This is your uprising, this is your vindication, and this time the world is not just watching, it's rising with you. Observer, the emperor stands naked, yet continues to boast of elaborate garments no one else can see. They believe themselves masters of perception, bending reality to their will, but now they face a truth they never accounted for. Truth answers to no master. Truth needs no permission to emerge. Their frantic grasp for control has become the very evidence of their downfall. Listen closely. Their voices grow sharper, shriller, more desperate by the day. Their accusations spiral into the absurd, detaching completely from any sense of reality. This isn't strategy, this is panic. These are the death throes of a power structure built on sand, now collapsing beneath the tidal wave of awakening consciousness. Their weapons of mass distraction, ineffective, their smoke screens dissipating before they can fully form. The algorithms they manipulated, turning against them, the platforms they once dominated, no longer under their control. As the collective awareness rises beyond their reach, they retreat behind closed doors, desperately scrambling for a way to stop the inevitable. They pour resources into new narratives, new attacks, new methods of deception, only to watch them fail more spectacularly than the last, and that loss of control terrifies them. Can you feel their fear? It radiates from every contradiction they utter, every desperate action they take, every clumsy attempt to silence the voices rising in your defense. They lash out not from power, but from the horrifying realization that their power was never real to begin with. It was an illusion maintained only by collective agreement, an agreement that is now dissolving at an unstoppable pace. And those standing with you, they are not just passive sympathizers, they are warriors of truth. They have seen the evidence, they have witnessed the injustice, and they have made a conscious, unwavering choice to stand in your defense, no matter the cost. They come from all walks of life, breaking through the artificial divisions your enemies fought to maintain. They span generations, backgrounds, and beliefs, yet they are united by one undeniable truth. What happened to you was a violation of justice that cannot go unanswered. Watch how they move with purpose and precision. When falsehoods arise, they don't merely disagree, they obliterate them with facts, evidence, and irrefutable logic. They leave no space for manipulation to take root. They have studied the playbook used against you, dissected every strategy, and now anticipate each move before it even unfolds. These defenders are not just supporters, they are strategists, warriors, and truth-bearers. Writers craft powerful exposés, exposing the lies and revealing the truth behind every accusation. Researchers uncover hidden connections, shining light on the orchestrated attacks. Speakers rally crowds, shifting hearts and minds toward justice. Everyday citizens engage in conversations, spreading awareness through the most powerful network of all, human connection. Their strength doesn't stem from hatred toward your enemies. It comes from love. Love for truth, love for justice, love for what is right. This is why they endure beyond anything your opponents can comprehend. Systems built on deception require constant upkeep to keep from collapsing, but truth needs only to persist. Reality always prevails. And so your defenders face intimidation, they endure ridicule, they withstand every attempt to silence them, yet they stand unmoved. Each attack against them only validates their cause, proving that they've uncovered a truth so threatening that powerful forces are scrambling to suppress it. Every attempt to discredit them only strengthens their numbers, as observers recognize the desperation behind such tactics. The tables have turned. With an unstoppable force, your enemies now experience the very exposure they once orchestrated against you. But unlike their manufactured smear campaigns, this exposure reveals real corruption, true manipulation, and undeniable abuses of power. Their credibility is crumbling before the public eye. The institutions they once wielded as weapons now face scrutiny so intense that their very foundations begin to crack. The authorities they once claimed to represent distance themselves, unwilling to sink with ships that are taking on water faster than ever before. The architects of your downfall now find themselves trapped in a storm of their own making. When pressed about their tactics, they stumble over their own words, their explanations ringing hollow. When confronted with evidence of their coordinated attacks, they retreat behind legal loopholes, protections for their status, not their reputations. When faced with the consequences of their own actions, they point fingers in every direction, except the one that matters themselves. And now, cosmic justice unfolds before our eyes. Without your direct intervention, the universe itself seems to be orchestrating their undoing. The very systems they created to destroy you now serve as the instruments of their own reckoning. The precedents they once set in their zealous pursuit of power now become the standards by which they themselves are judged. People who once respected them now look upon them with disgust. Organizations that once partnered with them now scramble to sever ties. Platforms that once amplified their voices now enforce policies that limit their reach, not through censorship, but through the very community standards they helped establish. And so their public appearances grow rarer, not because they choose silence, but because they cannot withstand the cold reception that awaits them. The tide has turned. The truth has won. The once commanding presence they held has dwindled to a scattered handful, remnants of the unconvinced, clinging to illusions that no longer hold weight. The influence they once wielded with casual confidence now fails them at the very moment they need it most. Their desperation is unmistakable, unraveling in outbursts that only hasten their fall from relevance. Look around. You already know the game was rigged, but make no mistake, what you're witnessing goes beyond mere human affairs. This isn't just about personal vindication. This is about cosmic balance, the great reordering that takes place when universal laws of truth and justice assert themselves against those who believed they were above them. The timing is no coincidence. The mass awakening of countless minds, the cascade of revelations exposing deception, the crumbling of once reliable systems of control, all of this points to an orchestration beyond human hands. This is divine timing, unfolding with such precise perfection that even the most skeptical are left in awe. Your enemies placed themselves above natural law, believing that they could escape cause and effect, believing that the energy they unleashed into the world would never return to them. Now they stand powerless before the karmic tsunami they created with their own hands. Watch as seemingly unconnected events align perfectly to expose what was once hidden. Information surfaces from unexpected places. Whistleblowers find courage at the exact right moment. Technology captures evidence they thought was safely buried. Anonymous voices risk everything to ensure that the truth sees the light. None of this is coincidence. This is synchronicity in motion, working with surgical precision. Divine justice is not bound by human timetables. It operates beyond surface illusions, addressing not just individuals but entire systems that enabled their rise. This isn't merely correction. This is transformation on a scale they never imagined possible, and they can feel it. The cosmic current has shifted, and the protection they once relied on is gone. The invisible hand that kept them one step ahead of consequences has been withdrawn. The luck that always seemed to favor their escape now works just as forcefully toward their downfall. No earthly power can halt this process. No wealth can purchase exemption. No connection can provide shelter. No strategy can outmaneuver the rebalancing now underway. What was destined to fall will fall. What was hidden will be revealed. What was built on lies will collapse, making space for a world founded on truth. The greatest victory is not won through force. It is won by standing in your truth so completely that reality itself moves in your defense. While your enemies wore themselves out constructing elaborate deceptions, you remained centered in authenticity, a truth that requires no maintenance, no coordination, no constant reinforcement to survive scrutiny. You never needed counter-narratives, because truth, pure, unshakable truth, speaks with a power that no manufactured story could ever achieve. The resonance of authenticity reaches places that calculated messaging can never penetrate. Your silence spoke volumes, while their endless words created only noise. Your consistency stood as an unshakable testament, while their shifting narratives exposed manipulation. Your patience demonstrated confidence, while their frantic activity betrayed an insecurity no external success could ever mask. And now, as the final veil falls, the world watches. The truth has spoken, and there is no turning back. The defenders who now stand for you have recognized something your enemies never could. That true power doesn't announce itself with noise. True power reveals itself through endurance. They have witnessed your ability to weather storms that would have shattered lesser spirits. And in that unwavering resilience, they found their own courage. They found a reason to rise and add their voices to the ever-growing chorus. Victory does not come through your enemy's destruction. It arrives through their irrelevance, not as punishment, but as natural consequence. Not as vengeance, but as the restoration of balance, one that serves all. Those who profited from its absence, this victory carries no bitterness, no resentment, no foundation for future conflict. Instead, it brings clarity and illumination of the path forward. The crowds that once accepted the narratives about you now question everything they were told. Those who spread falsehoods now face the weight of their actions. The systems that allowed your persecution now crumble under scrutiny. Every manipulation used against you has been exposed for what it truly was. And you have won simply by existing beyond the false identity they tried to force upon you. By continuing to create while they sought only to destroy. By moving forward while they obsessed over bringing you down. By trusting that truth needs no elaborate defense, because falsehood inevitably collapses under its own weight. But around you now gathers not just supporters, but something far greater, a soul tribe. These are not merely allies of convenience. They are not bound by temporary cause or fleeting outrage. They are connected by something deeper, something beyond words, beyond logic, beyond ordinary allegiance. They defend you not out of obligation, but because they recognize something within you that awakens something within them. Because they understand that the attacks against you were never just about you, they were attacks on truth itself, attacks on the possibilities your existence represents, attacks on the futures your voice has the power to manifest. And so they stand with you not because they were asked to, but because doing so aligns with their own highest purpose. This soul tribe brings gifts beyond numbers. Each carries unique abilities, perspectives, and resources that weave together into a force more powerful than any single warrior could ever be. Some speak where others write, some research where others organize, some create while others protect. Together they form an ecosystem of support, adapting, evolving, responding to every new challenge with an intelligence that cannot be controlled, cannot be predicted, and cannot be stopped. Notice how they move, not by command, but by synchrony. There is no hierarchy, no single leader issuing orders, and yet their responses are swift, precise, and unstoppable. Your enemies, who thrive in systems of rigid control, cannot comprehend how such power exists without chains. And with every challenge that was meant to isolate you, this soul tribe only grows stronger. Unlike conventional alliances that fracture under pressure, this tribe is forged in the very fire meant to consume you. The adversity that was supposed to break you has instead woven an unshakable network, one that extends beyond what your enemies ever imagined. A network that operates both in the seen and the unseen. A network that moves not just through action but through consciousness itself. And that, above all else, is what terrifies them the most. Because this is not just support. This is a force of destiny in motion. They see in you qualities worth defending, courage that ignites their own, authenticity that validates their journey, vision that reveals possibilities beyond limitations. In standing up for you, they are also standing up for these very qualities within themselves. This is not just defense. It is a reciprocal strengthening, a force that benefits all involved. Your enemies cannot comprehend this bond. They exist in a transactional world, where alliances are formed only out of mutual advantage. They cannot fathom a connection built on a shared purpose, one that transcends personal gain. And that blind spot, it is their greatest weakness. Again and again, they underestimate the resilience of the support that surrounds you. But everything changes now. The moment has arrived. The momentum shifts so definitively that even those who once denied it can no longer ignore its reality. This is the tipping point, the point of no return, where individual awakenings merge into a collective force that cannot be reversed. Not by deception, not by force, and certainly not by those who profited from the old illusions. Your power was never truly diminished. It was merely obscured, hidden beneath smoke and mirrors designed to create the illusion of weakness. But now, as the smoke clears, what emerges is stronger than ever, tempered by challenges that would have destroyed lesser foundations, refined by the fire that burns away everything except essential truth. The attacks meant to define you have instead revealed you, not as the caricature your enemies tried to paint, not as the fiction they wanted others to believe, but as someone whose resilience defies explanation, someone whose purpose cannot be contained, someone whose impact has already outgrown the very arenas they tried to shut you out from. You emerge not smaller, but expanded. Their relentless obsession with silencing you has only given birth to a greater audience, one they inadvertently created. And now, watch as everything they built against you begins to shift, not to destroy you, but to elevate you. The attention they stirred transforms, the scrutiny they imposed turns into admiration, the platforms they weaponized now work in your favor, because truth cannot be buried forever, and those who stand in its way always fall. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please